it's me, Sir Jess again. We are now in the second session for quarter 1 of Science 10. And for our topic, we are still going to discuss and continue discussing about plate tectonics. But before we proceed on that, let's have some recap on the things that you learned in the previous module, which was the first module for Science 10. Can you recall our previous topic? That's correct. It was about plate tectonics. But what about plate tectonics? Very good. We described last time the composition of Earth's lithosphere. We discussed about the difference of continental and oceanic crust. Now, can you still recall their differences? Yes, that is true. They differ in terms of thickness, age of rock, types of rock found on it, as well as their densities. How will you compare the two now? Continental crust is thicker compared to oceanic crust. Now, in terms of the age of the rocks, it is also older compared to oceanic crust. Again, continental is older compared to oceanic crust. Continental is composed of granitic rocks, while oceanic is composed of basaltic or volcanic basaltic rocks. Now, in terms of density, continental crust is relatively less dense compared to oceanic crust. So again, those are the differences between oceanic and continental crust. Now, here is your weekly home learning plan for week 2 and Science 10. You should take note on the things you will be doing for this week. Again, you still have the same learning competency as stated in the first module. However, your learning tasks now are different from the previous one. For this week, of course, you shall review first on the things you learned in the first module. You may scan your notes if you have your notes. Okay, if you have your notebook, you may scan them. And then go over to the targets and objectives presented in your second module. After that, you need to answer the try list part, or that's your pre-test for this module. And then, you can perform the simple activity entitled, How Does the Tectonic Plate Behave? Okay, you can do that because the materials are very much easily or readily available in your home or houses. After that, you need to answer the 2 guide questions, and then do the explore part. Okay, the activity is entitled Let Us Name It, containing the word search. And then after that, you need to answer the activity entitled Where Do I Belong? After which, you are to make 1 stanza poem describing the Earth's surface using plate tectonic ideas that you have learned in your second module. And then answer the post-test. Okay, it is entitled Assess What You Have Learned. And then if you have your notebook with you, you can copy the important concepts found in the vocabulary part. Okay, I hope that is clear as to your weekly home learning plan. Now let's start with this targets or objectives. For this module 2, there are 2 objectives. First, you need to name the different tectonic plates. And then, describe the movement of plate using the plate tectonic map. Now, at this point, I want you to answer this pre-assessment part or the try list activity. Here, you have with you 5 items. It's a 5-item test, multiple choice. You need to read the questions presented in your module and then choose the best statement that will answer every question. You are to write only the letter in your answer sheet. Okay, there are 5 questions. So I will give you a few minutes to answer the pre-assessment part. Question number 1 is presented here. How many lithospheric plates are there? Question number 2, which of the following forms part of a tectonic plate? For question number 3, which layer of the Earth is divided into tectonic plates? Question number 4, what theory states that the Earth is divided into a slowly moving plate? And then for number 5, what year was the theory of plate tectonics accepted? Okay, so you have 5 items again. Now let's try to check your pre-test. Okay, you may check your own paper, please. For question number 1, the answer is not found in the options given because the answer is 7. There are 7 major lithospheric plates. For number 2, the answer is letter D, the layers of continental and oceanic crust. For number 3, the answer is letter C, lithosphere. For number 4, the answer is letter B, the plate tectonics theory. And for the last item, the answer is letter C. It's in 1960. How many scores did you get? I hope you got 5. If you got 1 or 0, that's okay. Anyway, it's just a pre-test. Now, let's proceed to the next part. For the next part, I want you to be familiarized with these terms or definitions. There are 4 definitions or terms presented here: lithosphere, plates, plate tectonics, and tectonics. What is lithosphere? It's the rigid part of the Earth consisting of crust and mantle. Take note, it is basically composed of crust and mantle. We mentioned already in the previous module regarding the crust and mantle, right? The crust is the outermost layer, and beneath that, we can locate the mantle. Okay? So for the lithosphere, it is composed of crust and the upper part of the mantle. Next, plates. What are plates? Plates are not those na makikita sa mga kitchens natin, right? Okay? In this case, when we speak about plates in earth science, it's a massive, irregularly shaped solid rock, generally composed of continental and oceanic crust. Again, when we speak of plates, we're talking about this continental and oceanic crust. They are irregular in shape, meaning to say, wala itong definite shape po. Okay? So, iba-iba yung shape ng mga plates natin. For the third, we have plate tectonics. And when we speak of plate tectonics, as mentioned previously, it is simply the movement of plates or the movement of crust. It's a theory that basically explains that the Earth's crust is moving relatively, or they move from one another. Okay? And when we talk about this movement, we have actually different kind of movements, and we will basically discuss them as we go on with our module. And lastly, we have this tectonics. Okay, as defined in your module, it is a process affecting the structure of the crust. Okay, so those are the keywords or the definitions you need to somewhat memorize or be familiarized with. Okay, so let's proceed now. So again, just to reiterate, theory of plate tectonics or plate tectonics theory is the theory that basically states that the crust is broken up to or into different sections or pieces that move on top of the liquid mantle, and that specific part of the mantle is known as asthenosphere. Okay, so again, the plate tectonic theory is just a theory that suggests that crust is broken, and this broken crust are actually moving. These pieces of crust are moving, okay, at the top of the so-called asthenosphere. Now, when we speak of tectonic plates, these are sections or pieces of crust that are called plates, okay? So we can regard plates or tectonic plates to be specific, okay? Now, you can see in your module, there is this diagram, right? Meron tayong makikitang picture sa module na medyo malabo lang. However, let's try to see it in a clear image. Okay? Now, in that illustration or diagram, you can see there that there are 7 major plates. Okay? And those 7 major plates are actually moving. They are moving very slow, but they move continuously in a continuous manner. Okay. To be more specific, we have the 7 major plates. Okay. We have Eurasian, African, Australian, Indian, North American, Pacific, Antarctic, and South American. Later on, I'll show you a clear image. But again, there are 7 major plates. Now, for this intermediate plates, these are, when we speak of intermediate plates, these are the plates that can be considered also as microplates, meaning to say they are smaller compared to major plates. Okay, examples of microplates or intermediate plates are Caribbean, Cocos, Nazca, Arabian, the Philippine plate, Juan de Fuca, and Scotia are few examples of this kind of plates. And as mentioned in your previous module, there are 2 main types of plates. Okay, oceanic and continental. I hope these things are clear to you. Now, this is a diagram, okay, that is presented in your module. Okay, so as you can see in this diagram, napakarami pong plates. Okay, they are represented by different colors. Okay, just to give you an idea na meron tayong iba-ibang klaseng plates po. Okay, as mentioned in the previous slide, there are major plates and there are microplates or intermediate plates. Okay, and there are 7 major plates as you can see in this diagram. Okay, so yung mga major plates, of course, yun yung mga malalaking plates po. Okay, wherein yung mga microplates, yun yung mga maliliit na plate. Like for example, the Philippine plate, or in this illustration, we call it as the Filipino plate. Okay, aside from that, aside from the different plates, what you can see in this diagram are arrows, diba? Okay, there are arrows wherein they are moving away. The direction is they try to separate. Okay, there are arrows wherein the movement is they move toward. Okay, and there are arrows which seems to slide or strike, okay, from one another. So remember these 3 movements: they move, they separate, and they try to slide from one another. Okay, so this black line here, these are what we call plate boundaries. Okay po, mga plate boundaries ang tawag dyan. Okay, so we will discuss them actually in the next set of modules. Now, I want you to keep this in mind. These are concepts that you need to be acquainted with. Again, as I keep on mentioning, the plate tectonics is a theory that suggests that Earth's crust is made up of plates that are moving and they interact in various ways, rather. Now there are 7 relatively large plates, as mentioned, and a number of smaller ones. But in general, these plates we're talking here moves very slow, in a very slow manner, but they move in a constant manner as well, very slowly and constantly. So plates move away from one another. As I have said, they try to be far from each other, or they move apart. Some plates moves toward each other, and some plates slide, okay, with each other. Okay, the moving of lithospheric plates produce earthquakes, volcanoes, and other geologic events and features. Of course, if there is a movement, okay, what do we expect now? There is this subsequent effect, okay, and as stated here, some of these events include earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and other geologic events, okay. As we proceed from this module to another set of modules, we will be discussing this specific concepts. Now, in your module, we have this activity, okay, the explore part, which is entitled Do It. Okay, so how does the tectonic plate behaves? So, in your house, you can conduct this very simple activity wherein you will be needing bowl, water, small pieces of paper, a spoon or fork for stirring. Okay, actually, without doing this one, you can somewhat infer what will happen in this very simple experiment. Okay, so these are the materials. I hope you take note of this. And of course, after you gather materials, you will conduct the simple experiment, and after which you will record your observation. So typically, these are the procedures. You need to put water on the bowl, scatter the pieces of paper on the water surface, and then use the spoon or fork just to stir the water to make any disturbance on the water surface. And after that, you will record your observation. Now, if you do not want to conduct these experiments, you may, okay. But let's have this a video, a short video, which will somewhat simulate. Okay, this is not the actual experiment as stated in your module, but this is just a simulation on how the plates are moving.
Let's talk about the Earth's crust. Now, despite what I've drawn here, the crust is not one single solid piece floating atop the mantle. The water is going to be the mantle for this demonstration. The crust, I have aluminum foil pieces that I have cut into puzzle-like shapes. And these are going to be floating on top of the mantle. So just want to flip. Alright, so they're just floating together on top. When the mantle underneath moves, the pieces themselves move as well. And this is what's happening with the tectonic plates of the Earth and the mantle. Now, the edges where two plates meet are known as a plate boundary, and there are 3 different types of plate boundaries.
Okay, so that's it. So that's a very simple experiment or activity, right? So in that demonstration, the woman there did not use pieces of paper. Okay, she used an aluminum foil. just to demonstrate the plate movements. So the aluminum foil there represent the plates, but in your activity, as I have said, you will be using pieces of paper. Okay, so if you have conducted this activity, we can answer the following questions carefully. So in your answer sheet, I want you to answer this 2 questions. Okay, first, what does the pieces of paper represent? And number 2, what happened to the pieces of paper when the water was disturbed? Those 2 questions are very easy to answer. You can do that, my dear students. Now, in the next activity, we have here, the activity is entitled Data Statement. So, as in the direction, you need to study the picture below and then enumerate the different tectonic plates that you see on the map. Again, when you enumerate, you just need to list down. Ililista lang po yung mga makikita mong tectonic plates dito sa mapa na to. Okay? So, marami. Okay, there are several tectonic plates that you can see here. And they are properly labeled po. Okay? I hope you can do that. And after that, you need to have this word search, wherein you need to look for the names of the different tectonic plates inside the box. Search diagonally, horizontally, and vertically, then encircle the words. Actually, below that puzzle-like table, you can see there the different words. Okay, you will be expecting from that word search po. So sa baba, makikita mo na yung words, kailangan mo na lang ilista, okay, based on their placement po dito sa word search natin. Okay, so that's very easy po. And then after that, you need to accomplish this activity entitled Apply What You Have Learned. Okay, you need to study the map showing the relative motion of the plates, and then the arrow tells the direction of the movement. So this one is another map that basically shows how the plates are interacting from one another. So in this part, you just need to study the map. Okay, because after that, you will be doing an activity. And the activity is this. Okay. So it's entitled Where Do I Belong? So in your paper, you need to have these 3 balloons, wherein in those balloons, you will complete them. Okay? Complete them by basically providing information which are required or being asked in every balloon. For example, in the blue balloon, it is labeled at the top part that you need to name the plates that move towards each other. Okay? Actually, there are answers provided already. For example, the Nazca and South American. Okay? As you can observe in this map, here is the Nazca. And this one is the South American plate. So this is the arrow in the Nazca, and this is the arrow in the South American plate. Okay? So the movement is going in this direction. Okay po? So they move toward each other. So because Nazca and South American are plates which move towards each other po. So yun yung gagawin dito sa balloon. So kung kulang pa, kailangan yung dagdagan. Okay? Kung enough na, just disregard this one. Okay? But take note, ito, move away, ito, move towards, ito, they move side by side, or they slide. Okay? And then, after that, you need to answer the following questions. First, what does the arrow on the map tells about the plate? And then second, describe the movement of plate. Okay, so just answer this based on your understanding. And then in the next part, okay, actually you are almost done. In this case, you will just share your reflection. What are the things you have learned? And then after that, if you have your questions, you may write them in this part, I wish to ask about. Okay? So basically, it's the reflect part wherein you will share what you have learned and not only your insight, but also your query or your question. And as part of your reinforcement, this is actually part of your performance task. You are to come up with a one stanza poem describing the Earth's surface using plate tectonics idea that you learned today. When we have this one stanza poem, hindi po ito yung napakahabang tula, okay? Gagawa ka lang po ng stanza. Maybe you have there mga 4 lines lang, pwede na po, okay? So of course, the poem should be related with our discussion on plate tectonics po, okay? An example is provided, and let me read it. Big and small shapes like puzzle bit, unique surfaces, plates, pretty face of the earth. So that is an example of a one stanza poem. So you will do it, okay, on your own. Huwag na pong kopyahin kung ano ang nasa movie. Gawa kayo ng sarili nyo and an original poem po. And then, lastly, you need to answer this, assess what you have learned. Okay? So there are 5 items here, and in each item you have 4 options. Okay? So just try this on your tablet paper. Number 1, which of the following is part of tectonic plates? Number 2, which of the following is true about boundaries between the Earth's plate? Number 3, which layer of the Earth is divided into tectonic plates? Number 4, what theory states that the Earth is divided into slowly moving plate? And number 5, what year was the theory of plate tectonics accepted? You can actually do some advanced reading or researching po if the specific concept was not discussed in this module. Okay, so as your job as a student, you can read different references on this. Okay, so let's try to check now as to our last part. You can check your own paper. Number 1, what is the correct answer in number 1? Of course, that is letter C. It is both composed of ocean basin and continents, because as I have said, for tectonic plates, it's composed of 2, the continental and oceanic crust. For number 2, letter B, the plate boundaries are always located in the ocean basins, as you can see in the plate tectonic map. And number 3, letter C, it's letter C, lithosphere. For number 4, the answer is letter B. It's plate tectonic theory. And for number 5, it's letter C. It's 1960. Okay? So congratulations for finishing this module 2 of quarter 1 in Science 10. I hope you learned something from our discussion. Again, still, please comment your name in the YouTube comment section for me to monitor and see to it that you are watching this video lesson. I'll be giving additional points to those who will watch this video. And also, if you have questions, you can also type it in the comment section. You can also send a message to me directly in Facebook Messenger. Okay, So thank you so much, my dear students. See you in our next video lesson. Bye-bye.